Spider-Man 1 Remastered Story. Share and subscribe to AI Games Daily on YouTube for more content. The beginning. With Wilson Fisk finally behind bars, Spider-Man thought peace had returned to New York. But trouble lurked around every corner, and it wasn't long before a new threat emerged. A masked gang known as the Inner Demons had taken over Fisk's criminal empire and were hunting for something called Devil's Breath. Spider-Man and his trusty partner Mary Jane soon realized that the Inner Demons were more dangerous than they initially thought. But with the help of Officer Jefferson Davis, they managed to thwart one of the gang's attacks. Davis was hailed as a hero and even received recognition from Mayor Norman Osborn himself. However, the Inner Demons were not ones to be trifled with. At a re-election event for Osborn, they launched a full-scale attack, killing Davis and countless others. In the chaos, Spider-Man saw Martin Lee, a respected businessman, transform into the gang's ruthless leader, Mr. Negative. But before Spider-Man could intervene, he was knocked out cold. The attack's aftermath was grim. Osborn decided to hire the notorious Silver Sablinova and her mercenaries to take over the police force. Despite the grim circumstances, Spider-Man found an ally in Davis's son, Miles. Together, they vowed to make a difference in their city. They started volunteering at F.E.A.S.T, a community center that helped the less fortunate. As the battle for New York raged on, Spider-Man knew that he had to keep fighting, no matter the cost. And with Miles by his side, he was more determined than ever to take down the Inner Demons and restore peace to the city he loved. Peter and his scientific partner Otto Octavius were making great strides in their groundbreaking research into advanced prosthetic limbs. But their progress came to a screeching halt when Norman Osborn, the ruthless CEO of Oscorp, withdrew their funding. Osborn planned to force Octavius to work for him and his nefarious megacorporation. Meanwhile, Spider-Man was on the hunt for the dangerous criminal Martin Lee. His search led him to a startling discovery. Oscorp had created a virulent bioweapon called Devil's Breath while trying to develop a cure for genetic diseases. And Lee had managed to get his hands on the only sample. Lee threatened to unleash the deadly virus unless Osborn surrendered to him. With the clock ticking, Spider-Man and Mary Jane raced to stop Lee and secure the Devil's Breath. It was a dangerous mission, but they were determined to save the city from a catastrophic outbreak. In the end, Spider-Man and Mary Jane emerge victorious, and Lee is incarcerated in the maximum security prison known as the Raft. The Devil's Breath was secured, and the city was again safe. But the battle was far from over. Peter knew there would always be another villain waiting in the shadows, ready to strike at any moment. And as Spider-Man, he was always prepared to answer the call of duty and protect his beloved city from harm. As Peter and Octavius continued their research into advanced prosthetic limbs, Octavius became increasingly obsessed with pushing the boundaries of human limitations. He devised a plan to create 4 mechanical tentacles operated from his back and controlled via a neural interface. Despite Peter's warnings about the potential impact on his mind and personality, Octavius continued to work secretly, driven by his anger towards Osborn. But when Spider-Man investigated a massive breakout at the Raft, he discovered that some of his most dangerous foes had escaped, including Lee, Electro, Vulture, Rhino, and Scorpion. Before he knew it, Spider-Man was subdued and presented to Octavius, who had transformed into the fearsome Dr. Octopus. Octavius warned Spider-Man not to interfere as he seized control of the Devil's Breath and unleashed it on Times Square, causing a catastrophic outbreak that infected countless people, including Peter's beloved Aunt May. New York was plunged into chaos as Octavius and his team of villains launched a devastating attack on the city. Osborn declared martial law and blamed Spider-Man for the crisis, branding him a fugitive. But Peter knew he couldn't stand idly by as his city burned. With his back against the wall, Spider-Man had to use all his skills and ingenuity to save New York from the brink of destruction. As the battle raged on, Peter realized that his worst fears had come to pass. Octavius had been consumed by his obsession and transformed into a villain of unparalleled power. But Peter knew he had to face his old friend and end his reign of terror, no matter the cost. It was a fight that would push Spider-Man to his limits, but he was determined to save his city and the people he loved. As Spider-Man continued to fight back against the villains who had plunged New York into chaos, he took down one enemy after another, defeating Electro, Vulture, Rhino, and Scorpion with his incredible skills and daring maneuvers. Meanwhile, Mary Jane was on a dangerous mission, infiltrating Osborn's penthouse to uncover the truth behind the Devil's Breath crisis. What she discovered was shocking. Oscorp had created the deadly bioweapon to cure Osborn's terminally ill son Harry. But the experiment had gone wrong, and it was the explosion of energy that gave Lee his incredible powers, at the cost of his parents' lives and his hatred for Osborn. But Mary Jane also learned that there was an antidote for Devil's Breath and that Lee had stolen it. Spider-Man raced against time to track down Lee and prevent him from unleashing the deadly virus on the city again. But just as Spider-Man was about to apprehend Lee, Octavius appeared on the scene, ready to deliver a brutal beatdown to the web-slinger. In the end, Spider-Man manages to defeat Lee and secure the antidote, but Octavius and Osborn escape, taking it with them. As Spider-Man lay battered and bruised, recovering from his wounds, he had no idea what would happen next. Meanwhile, young Miles was bitten by a genetically modified spider from Oscorp, which Mary Jane had unknowingly carried out of Osborn's penthouse. Little did anyone know that this would be the beginning of an incredible new chapter in the Spider-Man saga, as Miles discovered his amazing powers and joined forces with Peter to fight for justice and protect the people of New York. As the dust settles in New York City, Peter grapples with a difficult decision. With Aunt May's life hanging in the balance and the city in desperate need of a cure for Devil's Breath, Peter must decide who to save. As he suits up in his armored gear and heads to Oscorp Tower to confront Octavius, the stakes couldn't be higher. A fierce battle ensues, and Spider-Man must use all his strength and cunning to retrieve the antidote and defeat Octavius. In the end, Peter emerges victorious, but at a great cost. With the limited cure, he must choose whether to save May or the infected masses. In a heart-wrenching moment, Peter chooses to save everyone. As he synthesizes a vaccine, he watches in horror as May takes her last breath. But he knows that he has done the right thing and that his sacrifice will save countless lives. As he reflects on the past few weeks, Peter knows he has grown stronger and wiser. He has lost his mentor, gained a new friend in Miles, and revealed his secret identity to his beloved aunt. But through it all, he has remained true to his ideals and fought for what is right. And as he swings through the city, he knows that there will always be new challenges to face and new battles to win. 3 months have passed since Spider-Man saved New York from the chaos caused by Dr. Octopus and his gang. Peter and Mary Jane have reignited their relationship, and Peter is thrilled to learn that his young friend Miles has gained spider-like abilities of his own. Meanwhile, Osborn, forced to step down as mayor, secretly enters a laboratory where his son Harry is being kept in stasis. To his shock, he discovers that a black, web-like substance has enveloped Harry's tank and seems to mimic his every move. Little does Osborn know, this sinister substance will bring about the greatest threat yet to Spider-Man and his city. The end. Thank you for listening. Share and subscribe to AI Games Daily on YouTube for more content.